it's hard to have enough time. It's difficult the relation time and money have to each other. And that given the opportunity, I think most of us would want more time than less time anywhere that we have time. And so to get time is one of the greatest gifts of all time. And I wonder how, as someone who appreciates time as much as I have taken the time to tell you, how I could give and get more time to others and for myself.
Have you ever felt like going to work is sucking away your will to live? On today's episode of That's a Great Point, we have recurring special guest, Cansafis Foote. We cover a wide variety of topics today, including self-expression, being weird in a world that shuns weird, the relative importance of money, and how do we manage ourselves to be responsible for our own existence. Cansafis spends a lot of time in Hollywood's comedy circles, and it shows. We had a ton of fun recording this episode today. As usual, if you find our content helpful, please share it with somebody you love. Thanks for playing along, for real this time. Enjoy. Welcome to That's a Great Point, the attitude adjustment for your soul, where co-hosts Elena Doran, Michelle Albers, and Lee Smart discuss deep topics around a life well lived. Let's start the show.
There we go. Let the good times roll.
Yeah, let the good times roll.
That's
Who
right.
else is up listening to that one?
Little Cars action. That was big in the Sebaski car back in my Cincinnati days. Let me tell you that. Yeah, it's good. How do you like this alfalfa moment that's happening right here?
Oh man,
I know.
we don't have alfalfa moments. We're not living.
This is true. This is true. I always prefer a buckwheat moment, or what was the other one? Piggy. I don't know. There are a lot of good characters in the Little Rascals. That's a fine program,
Indeed.
you might say.
So you two haven't met before. Michelle, care to introduce yourself?
All right. I'm Cansafis. Have we really never met before? Why did I feel like I got to meet you once before? I feel crazy.
Maybe I don't know. I'm podcast famous, so maybe that's it.
that must be it. Yeah. What's up? I'm Cansafis. You might know me from absolutely nothing. and I'm friends here with Lee and work together in writing circles and existence circles, and sometimes we just talk in circles, and yeah, I'm a I don't know what I am. I'm perfectly honest with both of you, but I am many things to many people and nothing to no one. How about that? How many people have said that out loud and meant it?
I like that.
Yes.
I'm in on that.
I might be the opposite. I might be nothing to many people and many things to no one. Time will tell. Time will tell.
I suppose we'll find out, right?
I mean, I don't know. I asked Lee, I go, what are we talking about today? And he goes, do you want to know? Or, I mean, I was texting, and I was like, I guess not. No, I prefer we talk about nothing. Let's do it. I'm ready for it.
I feel like they did a show about nothing once, perhaps.
There's some, maybe just one. Maybe it might be all of television. In fact, come to think of it, that might be all of entertainment. Absolutely pointless.
That's how we'll make it to the mainstream, by talking about Jack Diddley shit.
I mean, if we just
it's been really
that,
hard to. Yeah, it's been hard to break through talking about shit that matters. So maybe when we talk about nothing, we'll finally break through.
Well, nothing really matters. Anyone can see nothing really matters to me. There's a little Bohemian Rhapsody for you fans just turning on the radio.
That just might be the greatest song there ever was and ever will be.
I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can do that. You can't do that with me with music. You can't box it like that. That doesn't work for me.
That's fair. I mean, how about just greatest Queen song? I will say it's probably the most Baroque operatic song to chart #1 twice in rock and roll history, right? Or at least top 10. I don't know if it hit #1 both times, but very few songs with that wild of flair, progressive, changes between tone and tenor make it really far into the mainstream classic rock consciousness. But somehow Wayne's World being one of the reasons that song sure did. And it's a beautiful song. I lost my mind once and got it back by listening to that song. So it can solve your insanity.
Definitely one of the most iconic scenes in Wayne's World. That's for sure.
That's for sure. I love it. Anyhow, enough about me. Michelle, Lee, how about yourselves? Who are you guys? How did I get here?
I'm curious because you mentioned Cincinnati days. That implies you're somewhere else now. Where are you now?
Oh, I'm in Oakland, California. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm this is a burnt out car behind me, which is what me and everyone else who lives in Oakland live in, according to the Australian and United Kingdom media. Everything's on fire here all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I live in Oakland. It's I don't know, best little damn city in the world, you might say. Dolly Parton would maybe say, probably not, but I'd say it in a Dolly Parton voice if y'all needed me to. It's the best little city in the world. It's a bad Dolly impression. Sorry about that,
need
Dolly.
is a strong word, but desire, perhaps. Yes.
Oh, interesting. Well, let's get into words. I was just editing around a word today that I think both of you probably know and or like. Have you heard the word compersion before?
Compersion.
Now we'll have to look up
that. I know that one.
So we'll have to look up the actual definition, but I'm editing a TV show that has a sexpert on it. And she was talking about compersion, which in her definition of it is basically the opposite of jealousy. Compersion. So we should look it up and get the real definition. But I was like, man, the opposite of jealousy. That's a good feeling, right?
Yeah.
That's so like in the context of consensually non-monogamous romantic and sexual relationships, compersion refers to the empathetic feeling of joy one experiences when their partner takes pleasure from another relationship.
Yeah, this woman's really into sex and polyamorous. But I like the idea of it. I mean, I guess maybe it only does have to do with sex, but I imagine the definition is beyond that as well in some ways, because that feeling, that emotion of the opposite of jealousy is one that I think I just want to like live with, like I was really icked out the other day when I realized like what is upsetting me about this person. And what was upsetting me about this person is that not only did I have a jealousy of this person, but I think they had a jealousy of me and other people. And so what was upsetting me was like, what is this emotion, this stranger, these things, these feelings? I hate this. And so I don't know. I just asked myself, I was like, can I only feel and experience good things for a little bit in my mind as I was going on my run? And slowly good energy came back to me. And I'd like to think that that was some level of compersion, but I don't know. I'll have to ask my wife what she thinks.
I love that you turned it inwards whenever you were looking at the other person. You didn't go, there's something wrong with them. You went, what's going on inside of me? Because there's a really great statement that Michelle gave me probably a year ago now. It was, there's something about that person I can't stand about myself. And I love that statement because whenever we look at other people that we're having a problem with, we can always trace it back to it's some kind of projection that we're seeing in them that we don't care about us.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you know this, and I've probably said it, and I maybe even said it the last time I came on your guys' podcast, but I like to think we are mirrors, that I can only see me accurately through the lens of you, being anyone that I kind of talk to, see or sees me, etc. But in that lens is also this idea philosophically of like, we are reality, only us. Like the only provable reality to the self is the self because it exists here. Now, I'd say that's limited and a bit of hogwash, but it all starts with us, meaning me. And any feeling that I feel is my feeling. And to assign it to someone else is to lie to myself. And it's like, but it happens. I know it happens because it happens all the time for me. And one thing, you know this, Lee, Michelle, now you do too. I edit a lot of writers writing. Some 2,000 odd articles in the past 2 years of writing I've taken a look at, edited, and gave feedback to. And one of the constant communication and or writing mistakes that a communicator or writer makes is they say we or us when they mean I and me, or they say you or them when they mean I or me. And the overuse, it feels very comfortable to be like, we feel this way. Don't we do this? This is a universal thing. But at the end of the day, what can truly be proven to be as universal is far less universal than we say it is. And when I say we, I mean me. And so I do think that lens of use your eyes, capital I's, as much as possible. And, catch yourself when you're trying to we all over the place is an important aspect of this Isaac's existence. I went one too far there, but you get it.
Yeah, we see that often in coaching, and that many times when people are talking about what they want, what they're trying to aim for, it's I. When you start to talk about obstacles that may get in the way, attitudes, beliefs that may get in the way, it all of a sudden will deflect into we, us, like the so it's just a deflection. There's something there that I can't be within myself, so I'm going to deflect it off to everybody else. I can't own my own bullshit.
Yeah. I think of like the we and the me, right? You're making that W and M and you confuse the two. It's like, just flip it upside down. You're not talking about the we, you're talking about the me. And you got to start with the me to get to the we. It's like,
yeah. Well, I mean, we have a compulsion to not feel compersion, but I mean, it's true. And I guess there's a million ways that we could wax philosophically about what in the world leads us to this. And when I say us, I mean me. But it's, that I think that level of reflection, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I wasn't taught reflection. I wasn't really taught feedback until I sought it out. And, a lot of people harp on the U.S. education system, but I would imagine it's global. These third characteristics of existence, these emotional, the soul character, the psycho analytical brain is so passed over in the rote ways that I was brought up in the U.S. education system. And I wonder what it would be like to be taught, the deeper, ideas to really like have philosophy, to really have ethics and morality, and really to have communication and self-study be a portion of curriculum as we age, and specifically as we age young. I wonder what that could do for, a youthful mindset. Because when I look back on how I got here, I'm like, what did I learn and why did I learn that? And the majority of my self-growth has been autodidactically self-taught and or gifted from caring strangers who have then become friends or teachers in my life. And without seeking those needs, I might not have ever found them, versus math is kind of right there, right in front of your face, language, elements of science, etc. So I don't know. I find it odd that so much of these soft characteristics of communicative existence are absent from the way I was brought up.
Well, and I just kept going to exploration. I feel like so much of my experiences weren't about exploration. They were about like doing it right. Doing it the way, doing it the we way, not like my way. And certainly don't explore it.
That's only Frank Sinatra can do it my way.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I think I think for a lot of people, that is the experience. And I think a lot of people are raised differently. So I do meet people that have alternative existences, that were raised in alternative manners. And it'd be silly not to pretend that they don't have problems of their own or things that they thought that they missed out on and or wanted from the way that they were raised and or the way that information was given to them. But yeah, I mean, it's almost like, you know, why is so much of society built around rules, right? Is it to avoid death, possibly, right? The stop signs and the stop lights and all that sort of stuff. Is it to create commerce and capital, the advertisements and the numbers and the core structure of how work happens in society? I don't know. I have no tall, strong answer on it other than it does make me feel uneasy that so much of the way my soul characteristics want to be are antithetical to the way society has been built and continues to tell me how to act and how to shape and how to live within it.
Gosh, even hearing you say that, I'm like, exhale. You just gave me like a big exhale. It's like, yes. Your soul is speaking to my soul. That's it. It's like you described that so well. And like felt very truth and like a softening happened within me as you were saying it. It's like, I like that mirror. Bring more of that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's such a key point of what you're saying is we in school, we have to get it right. It has to be right or it's wrong. And as we grow up, the creativity is literally learned out of us. We learn how to not be creative. We learn how to not fail forward fast because it has to be right or else it's wrong, right? And so what a lot of what you're talking about is authentic self-expression gets pushed down, gets hidden because we're afraid that if we go out there and we authentically express ourselves, it's not going to be right. Therefore, there's consequences to it not being right. We're going to fail, whatever it is. We're going to get the F. We're not going to be able to succeed in life. So, I wonder if you want to riff on authentic self-expression.
well, while you were saying those things, my first instinct was like, quit thinking the thing that you're thinking, because I want to live completely in.
Let's see how well that works. Do not
That's
think
right.
about a pink elephant.
Do not. Damn it. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. We're all fucked. There is no Gina, only Zool. Anyhow, um, someone had a T-shirt idea yesterday, and I think it was like, "It's always now," and I was like, "Just go print it, put it on a billboard. It's ready to go, and just cook it, because that's all we have is now. There is no other time, and anytime you're living in another time, you're just doing it right now." So, to that end, I've been called an avant-gardist. I've been called an experimenter. And what popped into my mind while you were saying those things is like, why even bother calling someone something, And not like break all rules and we don't need genres of existence, but so much of people's expression exists to be judged and packaged and bought and marketed. And precisely if you want to live in the confines of this society in a way in which you can own material goods and do things with your material goods and share your material goods with other material goods people, the rules are such that I must understand exactly what you're doing. And when things bend the edges and I don't understand it, and maybe even I feel uncomfortable with what I'm seeing, doing, or experimenting with, or seeing experimented with, I say, oh, that's experimental. Oh, that's avant-garde. Oh, that's ununderstandable. Oh, that's practice. And I think, there's something to be said that it would be a lot more interesting as a world if all the weird shit that exists was taken as normal, because it's a lot more normal to be weird than it is to be normal.
Mm-hmm.
To think that the law of averages would point us to being average, as opposed to in a world of infinite people, there might be infinite things happening at infinite time spans. That's a lot more real than, we're all supposed to wear a fucking suit and tie and listen to Taylor Swift. Like, that's absurd. It's absurd
Well, I have a harder
to think
time. I have a harder time trusting people who aren't weird because you know that they're just hiding their weirdness.
Yeah, well, and listen, I can believe that someone likes wearing suit and ties. In fact, I like doing it sometimes. I love putting on a suit and tie, just not every day and not because I was told to. I like to do it because I think it's a cool style. And sometimes I feel like I look like a badass motherfucker when I put on a suit and tie. And I look classy and I look like a gentleman. That's fantastic. What I don't like is like, to work here to help us make widgets, you, sir, need to wear a blue shirt and a tie and show up at 8 a.m. every day, which I really mean is 6 a.m. And you leave at 5 p.m., which I really mean is 10 p.m. And you don't think about anything else besides us, which, you know, hate it or love it, is a lot of the work culture around the world. Around the world. There's no escaping that the behemoth that is the way that we pay each other for our existences is through over labor. We be labor and spend time forcing ourselves and others to work for ourselves and others. And we don't spend the same amount of time working for and on ourselves. And I just said all that from a we perspective. What I mean is me. I work too much for other people. I want to work on myself more. What the fuck? Sorry for cursing. Mom, hi.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, that did feel like a rant, and I didn't mean it to be. But I don't know. It's I guess a question for y'all coming from the coaching sphere. When you encounter commerce as a coach and offering your goods and services, does money feel an accurate reflection of what you're accomplishing for someone? And or would another method of payment offer as much or more? And if so, what would it be?
I mean, I get the money exchange and I get that like running a business money, right? That's the world we live in. We need money for our roots to be grounded and safe in this world on some level. But that's not where I feel my reward. I feel my reward watching people get what they came for. And I only know that because they share it. But to shift out of pain and into ease, or to shift not even out of pain, because I don't think pain ever goes away, but to shift into a space where you become more you centered. The number of people that are like, I don't want to be selfish. That's selfish. I'm like, well, good luck. It's like, have fun. I don't think I'm probably your coach then, because it's kind of a word you're going to have to learn to embrace at some point. And you don't have to, but it just happens organically when you really start understanding that you get to become your own best friend. It is all about you. You are the center of your universe. And when you become the center of your own universe and ripple that into the world, that's when the world benefits from really seeing you, and you benefit from seeing the world from that place, because that's a very different viewpoint. And so for me, like, my joy is absolutely watching people evolve in their own way, in their own time, with support and guidance, with the skills that like I believe I'm here with and for myself first, and then holding space with others. I just think, yes, money, sure, absolutely, we have to have it. I used to think, no, I'll do it all for free. I'm going to give myself away. Yeah, fuck that. That doesn't work.
That's for sure.
But I have way more joy in my being when I can watch someone light up from the inside out for the first time, when I met them, they were dismal and down looking and energetically heavy, because I feel the energy. So for me, that is my joy. That is my jam. That is my like, holy fuck, I love this life.
Yeah, my reward comes from compersion.
It's like, I mean, it's the good stuff.
Well, I mean, truly on the deep level, there's different rewards, and they all serve different purposes, right? So that at the deepest level, whenever what Michelle said, whenever I see somebody really light up and go take their life in a whole new direction, and they move from overwhelm and stress and worry and anxiety to joy and happiness and express themselves in a way that they're proud of and to create what they want to create in their life. That's a soul level reward. That's the deepest level of holy shit, that's why I'm in this. But then there's just a side genre over here of, I absolutely have to take care of my family, and that requires money. But I look at the money side of things as a coach as the person on the other side that I am coaching, their commitment many times reflects how much they pay. So if I have somebody that's not making very much money, 10% of their income might only be $300 a month. And I'm happy to take that person on at $300 a month because that means they are very, very committed at 10% of their income. If I have somebody that's making $100,000 a month, that's a completely different level, right? If they're paying $300 a month, then they're not as committed as that person paying $300 a month. So to really get the results from this work, they need to be very, very committed to this work. This can't be a hobby. This can't be oh, that would be nice. I'm all in with everything I have. I'm ready to get this work done because my life is not where I want it to be. I need to take my life to that next level to create the future that I've been looking forward to create. Whenever I get that kind of commitment, not always, but most of the time, it's very much so reflected in the amount of percentage of their income. Because whenever they have closer to that 10%, then they're very, very committed and they're going to get the work and do it.
Yeah. Well, and money is amazing at being an accurate abstraction of all those energies that you just mentioned, right? My devotion, my want, my need, the level of effort that I'm going to exert. Like money as the means to let me understand how much or how little I could do. But I wonder if that same amount of energy was spent on, say, considering different currencies. Let's say time was a currency or privilege was a currency, right? What would happen if I could barter with you and pay you with the privilege that I have? If I could say, whatever you are offering me as a service, I will offer you this service in return, or this service in return, or this service in return. And I'm not saying this works all the time, but when we find those situations where the transaction of what I do for someone is repaid with what they do for me, there's something to be said for how that energy feels different than a currency exchange. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure what it is or why it is, but I'm kind of micro obsessed, as you might hear, about this idea of like, well, what else is there? In recent years, it's all the rage. We have cryptocurrencies, right? And we have a million different formats of quote unquote money, of how people exchange goods digitally online, or really how they speculate to change the tenor of the value of what has been construed as goods previously up to and on this point. So we're in a world now of infinite quote unquote monies, currencies online. And when I look at these digital currencies and these cryptocurrencies and these, my dollar bill and my stocks and my 401k and blah, 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 none of them have an emotional resonance in a way that say, can you come help me work on my house this weekend? And the experience I get doing that with someone, both seeing something built, sharing that time, holding that memory together. And it might just be for me, but it's so rich when I get to experience, like right now, what we're having is a time exchange and an idea exchange and an adventure in conversation and communication. And I'll walk away from this changed in a different person for the rest of my life. And that had no interface of currency. You're not paying me. I'm not paying you. None of us are getting paid by the however many people, hi mom, are watching this. But it's so valuable and so worth it and so fantastic. And I just wonder, how can I get paid more, like, by this? How can I get paid more by being with people, by sharing experiences, by changing my life, by becoming a different person? And that's why I'm obsessed with it, because it's like, I know I need, should have, and must love money because of the society I live in. But then my soul self says, I love people. I love ideas. I love making cool shit. I love being cool places. I like existence. And I'm not as set on the constraints of the world that I live in. And, that friction is interesting for me at the moment, and just something that I'm toying with. I'm just trying to figure out, having good conversations with people, to be honest, where it hasn't led to anything concrete, and I'm kind of happy that it hasn't. So anyhow, long-winded way of saying I appreciate both those answers, and it's a good insight. And money's cool. Money as a means of understanding ourselves is totally, like, it's just as good as like understanding ourselves through conversation and art. It's just another style. But
I believe there's too much emotional attachment to money. All money is a tool. A hammer's a tool, right? If I need to beat a nail into a piece of wood, I go grab a hammer. Money is the same exact thing. It's a tool to be used to get us what we are trying to get, to do what we are trying to do. Without that tool, without enough of that tool, we can't do many of the things that we would like to do, like have these conversations. Because if you don't have it, then you don't have the free space to be able to have this time to be able to have this conversation. We have to go work so then we can pay our bills. So then we can have shelter, so we can have food, right? So it's a base level of security that is necessary. And then we build off of that base level of security, and we move up Maslow's hierarchy of needs using that security first. Without the bottom of the pyramid, the security, then we can't move into self-actualization. We can't move into having deeper relationships because we don't have the bottom of the pyramid. We have no foundation. And that's all the money is a way to help us build that foundation of security, because we have to be safe. We have to be able to survive. And in our current society, that's what it takes to survive. It's not like we just go out and hunt in the woods and build shelters out of twigs and berries, It's kind of a different way of things. In that particular way, our currency, our tool would be an axe. That'd be a highly valuable tool to go survive, or maybe a bow and arrow, right? A gun. That way you can survive and be safe. But then it's not relevant today.
Right. Well, circling back to the beginning of the conversation, I think this explains the school system then, because it's built around the base of, I need money. And how can I make money best? By understanding these things. Mm-hmm. And then these third characteristics, these soul characteristics, these philosophical characteristics, these, constructs of improving the self aren't really tied to the bare bones basic needs of survival by making money. That's, I'm not going to be, there's very few people that, not everyone can be paid to be like, I'm going to talk about myself for 16 hours today, right? Some people get paid to do that. And some people are like, that's a good version of the self that I want to hear talk about that. But not all of us can, should, or would do that. So a lot of it's like, well, how best can I be taught to make widgets for a living? And or to help other people make widgets for a living, and or share those widgets. Yeah, I mean, it's I find it fascinating, because I'm just wondering what is needed to shift on a mass scale the prioritization. Like, we live in a world where we're excited about the prospect of living in space boxes and moving to Mars, because we're afraid of the sun eating the world or an asteroid hitting it, as opposed to figuring out, how could we protect ourselves from asteroids or the sun? How can we shift our consciousness to be more around, I don't know, sustainability, as opposed to, the differences between existence? I read an interesting article this morning. This is long-winded, but it's about the cryptocurrency barons who are starting to build homes in the sea. I believe it was in the Atlantic or something like that. Anyhow, there's all these people who got crypto rich that are now building pods in the sea to live without rules and without politics. And they want to build a future for people to not have to be governed by anyone and just be sea pod people, right? And that's totally, when we come back to money, these are people that they invented a currency or adopted an invented currency, believed in it to the point where the currency had a perceived value that allowed them to buy their own home in the sea. And now they live alone or with friends and security guards in the sea on that version of the currency that they did. And when I saw that and read it, I'm like, well, how lonely and how, distrustful of the human experience and society and like existing near and with and by people, right? And I just wonder, I live in Oakland. Like I said, I made a tasteless joke about being in a burnt car earlier because that's the perception that the news shows me of my city. But if I'm honest, there's a block away about 10 people living in 10 burnt out cars. And I can't change that. No one can change that. But objectively, you see someone living in a burnt out car and you're like, that seems hard. That seems like a very difficult life. I wonder if they want to live like that or if there are things impeding them from having a different existence. And I wonder what it would take to have the time to ask those questions and find out. And I wonder what it would take to have the time to help provide or to be alongside for solutions for things such as this. To live in a society as advanced and wealthy as we are and to still not know how to help people not live in burnt out cars boggles my mind. Like we can create currencies. We can create homes in the sea. We can do anything. How can we not help our fellow brother and sister? And, I am part of that problem. And that's part of, again, the soul existence is I want to help and be helped. And it's hard to help right now and be helped. Sorry, I really keep going.
Yeah, that's a tough one. One of the things that really stood out when you were talking about the pods under the sea was if they have a society without rules, why the hell do they need security guards?
Right. Well, because the other societies, right? That was the argument. The Thai government is saying you're not allowed to be here and doing this. And so, and they're afraid of pirates and what have you. That's the thing. Listen, like, if you need a security guard for your existence, what have you done at that point? Like, might you have too much of anything if you are afraid of someone coming and taking it from you?
That's a tough one because I know in coaching, if we turn it back to that perspective, in coaching, it cannot help somebody who does not want to be helped.
Yeah, well, that's true. 100%.
Yeah, there's a drill that we do in the leadership program that we're blindfolded and we have to try and find our way out of this little rope maze. And whenever you find your way, you then are given the option. Do you want to stand on the side and watch, or do you want to go back in and help those who are still in there? But the problem is we're blindfolded, so we can't actually help them. We're not allowed to speak. We're not allowed to talk. So the purpose of the message is you can't help somebody that doesn't want to be helped, that hasn't asked for help. I probably explained the exercise poorly, but it's a futile gesture to try and help those who aren't willing to receive that help.
Yeah, sounds like a big waste of time, right? Hey, I'm going to help you. I don't want help, but I'm going to help you. Yeah. I don't need help, but I'm going to help you. It sounds, yeah. Well, not to jump so much, but why would you ever need a security guard? Like, would either of you ever need a security guard in your life? What would it take for your life to have to hire an armed person to sit outside where you live?
For me, in my world, I feel like if that is required, I'm probably doing something wrong, like misaligned with my soul. That's how I would feel it. But I love how this conversation makes, I'm realizing, and I always know this, but like this is really highlighting the layers and the complexities of the human experience and of existence, really. Because I think what motivates us is relative to the now. Like if my mental state is totally in the trash, I could give a shit about money. But if I have no money and I don't have a place to live, I probably care more about that. And I think it varies in the now. And I think what a beautiful thing to pause and witness, not only yourself, but other people and what might motivate them and what their needs might be. And then if they're open and willing to receive help, or to provide help if I don't know, I just feel like we don't dance enough. Like we don't like look each other in the eye and like see each other's souls, so to speak, or even consider their energy or what state they might be in or what state we might be in, so we know what our capacity is and we show up honoring what that actually is. Because I think, you know, I'm a human who likes to help. I'm a human who used to help at the expense of myself. And if I don't have the capacity to help, what help am I really? And if I force it on someone, what help am I really? Like I'm fucking not. I
Yeah.
just think the amount of ego that lives in or lived in me on a self, like just totally took myself out, but also like projected a bunch of bullshit on other people that was so harmful. And I'm not beating myself up about that. I'm just viewing accurately my former existence. And then the time and effort and energy I've put into really learning how to love myself. That's fucking amazing. I'm not saying I show up right every day, but I show up me, and that's better than anything else I got. So,
Yeah. Well, what's amazing to me about that is like, I can hear you had a journey to find yourself and get to that point, right?
yeah.
And tethering ourselves to the conversation that we're having on this podcast, you know, what are the steps that led you to now being how and who you are? What what were the processes along the way? How much and how did you develop this education to be able to say and do what you do right now?
God, how much time do you have?
That's a messy path.
I think I can put it into nuggets, but my nuggets today would be different than they would be next week, they're different than they would be 2 months from now, because I have many profound moments that change things for me. But I think it started with anger and a discovery that I didn't want to keep living that way. Uh, and then that led to a beautiful community that taught me things I had never experienced before, things like looking within and taking accountability and showing up authentic. And those were all foreign concepts to me, which is a weird thing to say, I suppose. And there's probably people in my life that won't like hearing those words, but it's my truth. And then I think it was really, allowing myself to be in pain, but to witness it and to do so with a form of love and gratitude and appreciation. And I don't start there. I started really messy and in a lot of hatred and anger and resentment and pity and shame and guilt and all that shit. But when you get down to it, it's like that energy doesn't serve me. I think the other thing I did is I embraced my spirituality in a new and different way, which really connected me with my divine self, which I resisted for a very long time because that was boxed for me and very structured. And when that opened, it was completely different. And I think it was a willingness to honor everything and to understand that while I might not like everything that happened or even how I used to show up, I'm grateful that I've evolved and looked at myself. And I'm grateful that I can be my own best friend now, that I can be alone in a room with myself and not be in hatred or anger or guilt or shame.
Mm.
And I think one of the biggest things that like matters most to me is if I can help even one person not take 2 decades or 3 decades to get out of their pain or to see it's not that I'm out of my pain. It still exists. It's just different. And it's different kinds of pain now. But to just understand that they deserve to love themselves and have self-worth. And I don't even like the word deserve. Like you get to. It is. I believe it's why we're here. We're here to love ourselves. Why? Because when we love ourselves, that's how we serve the world.
Mm.
Because we find ourselves, and when we know what our strengths are and what we're here for, yeah, you move shit in a great way.
Mm.
But stuck in the pain, I was not I was not sustainable. I knew I was either going down the slope of I don't want to be here or I was going to find a reason to be here.
Yeah. Was there a pivotal moment? Was there an epiphanal moment, I suppose?
I feel like it happened slowly over time and then I just had an aha like holy shit, I've forgiven.
Mm. So little bits and nuggets kind of teaching you and telling you, and all of a sudden you're on the journey, not
Yeah.
even knowing when it began.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's like it's hard to remember exactly where I started. I mean, I think if I'm being really honest, like I mean, I think my first divorce was a catalyst for
Mm-hmm.
starting some sort of healing and looking at myself, going, what happened? And then I think finding out about some trauma that I had buried in my brain and forgotten was another really big catalyst. And then it was like, well, now I saw it, so I can't unsee it. So where are we going from here? Those are big pivotal moments where it was like, and thankfully I found community and people that actually could hold space and teach me things versus suck me down the loop that I was going.
Mm.
I mean, earth angels, that's the way I see it. I'm like,
Sure.
I was divinely guided to people that could teach me something, help me find myself.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there's so much there. I wonder. Yeah. I mean, people are energy, right? People
Mhm.
are and we as people are energy, and so the energy that we bring into or ask of the world will find us, hopefully. And
Yeah.
certainly, if I spend today saying I'm going to hurt myself and choosing to hurt myself, well, I'm going to hurt. And if I spend today saying I'm going to make myself feel better, and I spend my time doing stuff to make myself feel better, hopefully I'm going to feel better. And it's worth saying that sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes I want to hurt myself and I don't, and sometimes I want to feel better and I don't. But
Yeah.
more often than not, intention gets us closer to intention than
Mhm.
further away from it. It's seldom where I say I want to hurt myself that I don't end up hurting myself, and it's seldom where I say I want to feel better and I don't end up closer to feeling better. So I think I guess a lot of the value to the journey then might be in accepting we have a voice and listening to it and understanding what it's saying and asking for, and maybe even asking it questions if we disagree with what our voice has to say.
100%. And I think it was that exploration that, I mean, I didn't even know I was living in victimhood. I didn't realize that that's where all of my patterns were taking me. And then it was like, well, hang on. What if I take accountability for my life starting now, but and change everything, really? And that was like a terrifying thought because I'd never really done it before. It was just sort of I was in the rut of life. It was just I just rode the wave and didn't really put a lot of intention around it or a lot of I mean, I wanted to be a good, kind person, but I've failed at that more often than not. In that state, I wasn't in a great state. I was in pain, right? Internal turmoil. So it was like, it's pretty hard to be really, truly kind when you're an asshole to yourself every moment.
Yeah. Well, it does make me think about something else that I've been thinking about a lot, which is time.
Mm,
And I feel like, you know, it's hard to have enough time. It's difficult the relation time and money have to each other. And that given the opportunity, I think most of us would want more time than less time anywhere that we have time. And so to get time is one of the greatest gifts of all time. And I wonder how, as someone who appreciates time as much as I have taken the time to tell you, how I could give and get more time to others and for myself. And I have no answer for this, but it's something that's been on my mind because I just find that one thing that I'm lacking right now is as much time as I want to do as many things as I want to do. Even knowing that time is infinite ongoing existence, always now. I know that to build a house, to make a painting, to write a book, to ride a bike, to hike the Appalachian Trail, all those things require a portion of time that my current financial state certainly doesn't allow. And my current obligations, et cetera, et cetera. And so in that world, I just wonder, what would it be like to pay someone with time, or to get paid in time? What would that look like as a currency? And again, I'm just obsessed. We have these digital currencies, but I think we have these soul currencies too. And I wonder how best I can access them and then harness and give them to people. How can I give someone time?
I love that. I love that so much. And honestly, that is what I meant when I said, like, if I can make it so it doesn't take someone 3 decades to find themselves or to get a hint of a more ease in their life, like that is giving them time. And I also think there's a very good chance that you can gift yourself more time, because chances are you're spending time in a lot of hell maybes and not hell yeses. And if it's not a hell yes, maybe it's a hell no. And if you get really clear and accurate with that shit, that it's amazing how much time you can find, but it's hard to say no.
Yeah, but that's 100%. I mean, you immediately answered the question though. You have and can and do give people time by just that. And if I walk away from this and I find a couple hell no's and turn them into hell yeses, a couple hell yeses and turn them into hell no's, and or a couple hell maybes and turn them into either, right? And if I get clearer with my existence, you're right. My time now is more, and you have gifted me that, and I have gifted it to myself as well. And I think that's it in many ways, part of the journey, which is like certainty certainly builds more opportunity in time, right? And being absolutely sure that what I'm doing at the present moment is exactly what needs to be done now.
I have the goosebumps. I have the goosebumps. That's how good that is. That's how good that is. My goosebumps mean shit. Time is my love language. Quality time is my biggest love language, because I think time is our most valuable resource, and it's not replaceable.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be infinite, but we can't go back to it. So like time is my love language. So I'm all about that.
Right. Well, and it's infinite in its dimension. It's not infinite as I will die.
Right.
100%. My time ends at some point.
It does. Yeah.
And so my time is limited. And, I think that's why making the most of my time is important, and or having as much time as possible and having a good time is especially important, or even a great time.
That was one of the thoughts that helped me move myself the most, is why am I spending my time in this thought, in this pattern, in this way of being? Why am I wasting so much time? What the fuck? Why am I doing that? I don't get this time back. What am I doing? And I think because time matters to me so much, that was a loud motivator for me. Somebody could have dropped $100, $1 million in front of me, and I probably would have been like, fuck it. Yeah, I don't care. I don't love myself enough. But you give me time, and that was like, yes, I'm in. It depends, right? It depends on where you're at.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I don't know why, but that provoked in me this idea then also that one of the more important currencies is change. And transformation, what made the hell maybes into the hell yeses and hell no's, et cetera. But making change and transforming myself, and taking the way of existence I have in here and altering it is such an important characteristic of life to kind of hold on to and or share. And, incurring continual change, taking the now and always improving it, and or embedding it, or at least dressing it up and giving it good accoutrement, is a worthwhile pursuit.
Yes, I would use different words because those words for me lead me to my high expectations and take me into my perfectionism. So I wouldn't call it better or whatever, but I am
Yeah,
100.
that's
Yes, I
fair.
agree with what you're saying, but I love that you're a words person because like for me, it's like or words have energy for me. And because of my past experiences, some of them normally would be like great words for some people. And for me, I'm like, yeah, I can't use that word. Like that word's not mine.
Well, that's a good challenge too. Better is probably, to be honest, better's a boring fucking word. Better means jack shit. Like
Yeah.
it's an awful fucking word. It's worthless.
Yeah,
Better's
better is
then looks
subjective, right? Better
yeah,
is so subjective. Better than what?
exactly.
Yeah.
Better looks back, you know? And it's cool to look back. I feel like a lot of art is back here, right? This is reflection's awesome because reflection brought into the now can propel me to whatever future I'm doing. But there's also just now, and then there's also what's ahead. And
Mhm.
better's definitely not ahead of me, right?
Yeah.
Better can only look back.
I
And
also feel
so
like this. Oh, sorry.
no, go.
I feel like this is related to your time thing. I feel like more accuracy would be helpful, right? I want to find a drip more of joy. I want to find more ease. I want to bring in and manifest more comfort. I want to find contentment. Like, be better isn't specific enough and it's not going to get you to your hell yeses and your hell nos. But if you know, I haven't experienced real true joy in a while, I want more joy. That's
Well,
different.
I'll take it one step further because you're right that I love words and I love language. And I was thinking about language and I was like, well, probably the greatest accomplishment that I could ever do with language is either A, be silent and say nothing, or B, simplify all of existence, all of creativity to just one word. It's just one word. It's a book. I don't have this word, but if there were a word I could say that contained the multitudes of everything I think, why would I say any more? And to that end, why would I even say the word more? I want ease. I want happiness. I want, pleasure. I want comedy. I want all the things I want. That's enough. I don't, the mores, the betters, the clarifiers is too many words. And the simplifying what we're saying and simplifying what we're asking and simplifying what we need is a quick way to get closer because the clarifiers is a distance. I want more ease versus I want ease, right? Well, more, what do you mean by more?
Yeah,
Ease. All I have to say is, what do you need by ease? And it's just
right.
simpler. So I think about this all the time because as a person who writes, as a person who's obsessed with words and communication, I over effluviate. I over, and it's a good practice to catch myself in that process and to try to be the most accurate version of myself I can be.
Mhm.
I'm finding myself curious and I want to hear what Lee thinks because I see him over there chewing. Um, but I'm curious if you ever think in energy
Yeah, I do. Yeah, a lot. Yes. I
because I
and
find like, yeah,
yeah. Go. Yes.
I find that like, I don't have a word for it necessarily. I have words that are close enough, but like when it feels like me, like the me of me, like soul me, that's how I know it. I want, it's what I want. It's what I'm creating more of. But I don't have a word for that really because the words make it messy and egotistical and meh. But like the energy of it is so bright and it like lights me up from the inside out. I don't know. I find myself thinking in energy. And when you were talking, I'm like, oh, you're an energy guy. You're an energy
I
guy.
100%. Well, energy's wild and there are people, so I hang out with folks like yourself that are coaches. I hang out with healers. I have a friend who studies sacred anatomy, which I think is really interesting and worth looking into if people want to. And the woman's name I don't know off the top of my head, but it's an art and an existence of seeing kind of the energy portals. This woman who has created the study and the education around it helps people see their energy field, cleanse their energy, think about their energy, and really has perception at an energetic level. And the more I hear and think and find out about stuff like that, just, I would say there was so much skepticism built into me as a young Catholic boy, confirmed at 16, that ran away from religion and many different things in my life. That part of that was like, well, what are these other things, right? And I don't believe in this. Why would I believe in that? And that skepticism kind of kept me away, I think, from understanding that inside all those things are answers if I want them, and or possibilities if I believe them. And to the point of energy, I can feel energy. This conversation carries energy. I can't see energy. I can't put colors necessarily on energy unless I'm just being creative and having a good time. But I'm not sure how accurate or how real that would be. But I'm also not sure that matters. What I can say is that I live in an energetic world. I can feel people's energies and presences. I can accept and take it in when given to me. And I definitely try to put energy out into the world. And maybe more so than anything, I actually think I'm pretty fucking good at giving and getting energy. But it's hard to put words to what that is, or to, quote unquote, make money being like, I'm good with energy. I'll give you some energy. What the hell does that fucking mean, guy? Get out of here, right? But I do think it's real. It's clearly real. I mean, it's scientifically real. And I think I'm going to use we here. I think we will learn a lot more, I think, as a society, that there are people that understand energy really, really well, and for whatever reasons have a hard time getting that information out. And I think there are people that probably even understand it better than that and might be stopping the information from getting out for reasons that I don't know either. But energy is all around us, right? It takes energy to wake up and spend 8 hours doing something is an energetic act. And energy is being harnessed, whether or not we view it or it's visible as such, and definitely seen in the material world by the objects present in it, because it takes energy to create those. But that step beyond that kind of psychosomatic, that soul level, that whatever of energy, I believe there's a lot there. And I wonder how close, I'll ever get to it as time goes on, but it's worth spending more and more time finding out. And I like talking to people like y'all that are interested in it and might know more than me about it, because it's fucking cool. It's a currency in and of itself too. It's another thing we can share with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I look at it from a state of being. Who we are being can many times mean as much or more than what we do. And what we do, if it's coming from a lesser state of being, a lesser wavelength of energy, however you want to look at it, it won't be received nearly as well if we do the same creation from a different wavelength, from a different state of being. Think about trying to help the wife around the house. If I'm doing it from just an angry, heart at war kind of place, it's not going to be received very well. And if it comes from a peaceful place, I'm actually being better in my own state. It comes from a place of I'm happy to help. I'm happy to do these things for you. It's received significantly different. Could be doing the same exact thing. So that's to bring it down into more, I don't know, everyday terms. So yeah, your writing. I'm comment on that real quick. Your fucking writing is artwork, man. As when you say you write, it doesn't cover it. Doesn't cover what you put out, because it's different than anything that I've ever read before in my life. It's put together in a way that it's truly an art form. So I'm gonna link that in the show description. So that way other people can get the opportunity to experience your writing, because just like looking at a wonderful painting, just about like looking at wonderful sculpture, at things like the Sistine Chapel, whatever it be, great works of art, that is your writing. hands down. It's
Very, very nice of you to say. Appreciate that.
yeah.
Yeah, I challenge anyone to think about writing in that way for what it's worth. Like, and thinking about life. Art's a fucking cool word, right?
Mm-hmm.
Art is so encompassing of really anything and everything. And creativity, speaking about energy, right? Like creativity, wow, to be creative, to create, to make things, to bring things out from in us and put them out there in the world is such a powerful human opportunity. And I think the opportunity exists for all of us to make art in any format at any time. And I want to encourage others to do so, just as I do myself. Art is fucking radical.
So you
And
have to get
I
over.
don't know why that weird thumb happens all the time here.
Perfect timing on the thumb, but anyway, you got to get
Art
over
is
that.
Radical.
Got to get over that being right from that we were so drilled into us from school, right? Because if we're creating art, there is no right.
Yeah, well, and I
All
think
subjective.
100%. Well, sometimes there is, right? It can be an art to be like, I'm right. I'm doing this, right? It's an ugly art form. We have leaders that do that all the time, and they're ugly motherfuckers. They look like fucking snakes, and they smell like them too. But I think great art is something that I want to live in, and that I want to be able to take what I need from it, and that it exists for the author as much as it does for the audience, and it's different for both of them. And something that someone said to me the other day that I found very compelling was the aspect of community as a portion of good art. And if you think about it, like, I don't know, let's go spiritual. Let's say like the Bible is good art in that so many people want to talk and read and be like, have you read this? You should understand this. This passage is amazing. But like, even like Jurassic Park, fucking, have you seen the dinosaur movie? It's amazing. They eat a lawyer, blah, blah, blah. It's fucking Tyrannosaur. It's incredible, right? I want to talk to people about it. I want to tell people about it. I want to share in the experience with people with it. And I think, there's art that I want to never see again in my entire life, and I want to tell no one about, and I don't want to mention. That sounds like not great art. And then there's all the other art, which is, it's like, I have to show you this. I have to tell you about this. We have to talk about it. I need to think about it. And I think everyone has that in them. And it's up to myself, anyone, to say, I want to do that and make that and be that. But it's difficult because we live in a world that definitely says, well, art's this, or if you make this, it should sound this way. And, or if you want to make money doing this, then you need to do it this way. I mean, just think about music. There's an infinite number of bands out there making awesome fucking music right now. And there's about 300 of them making money. And if that doesn't speak to what art is and what commerce is, and the difference between getting paid for something and the difference between making something, I don't know what does, because it's while they look the same, they smell the same, by all words we call them the same thing. They're not the same thing. They are not the same thing. And expression, true, pure, honest, unadulterated expression, that's so cool as like a human being to be able to offer that and share that. Because how else could I know you if you never expressed yourself? And how else would you know me if I did not? And so, yeah, appreciate you saying the nice things about my writing. That's why I write and continue to think, and why I talk, and why this conversation is amazing, and why every other conversation today I'm going to have is going to be amazing, except for this one conversation I'm going to have with one person that's going to be terrible, because I'm going to make it that way just to prove I can have a terrible conversation. But it's because I am expressive and live in a world where people are expressive, and I accept their expression, and hopefully they accept mine. And when they don't, I force them to, and or I change the subject to make a fart joke. But these are the realms in which I work.
Oh, love you, brother.
Appreciate y'all. Very fun hanging. I know we're a little over, and I probably need to run to my next thing. Just noticed that I do. So with that,
it was great to meet you.
fantastic. Look at this. Look at that. I don't know why that happens all the time.
Celebration.
Great as well. Now let's see if I can do any other ones at time. See, wait, when you want the AI to work, it doesn't work. AI is just the new, like, it's like a Yugo. You're like, it's a great car. And then it breaks down on you down the road. And you're like, I hate this car. I'm walking home. Anyhow, we'll talk about AI some other day. Bye.
Later, buddy. Thank you for listening to That's a Great Point with Elena Doran, Michelle Albers, and Lee Smart. To find out more about how we can serve you, check out our links in the show description. Thanks for playing along.